Okay, I'll see if I can do this video quick. Okay, yes, I know, it's Madonna yet again. We're going to be looking at a connection to, well, the 131. And I thought it'd be an idea to do it today, seeing as it's the 13th of October tomorrow, another 131 numerology date. Okay, so obviously a potential, the numbers we're going to be looking at here are going to be maybe to do with, yes, a potential date for Madonna to croak. Okay, right before the celebration tour, that would be kind of interesting. I've got just some links, a bunch of stuff that links together. Okay, with the 131, with the 31. Okay, so where to begin? I tell you why I've kind of decided to do this video rather than just leaving it on the back burner and waiting and seeing if something does happen. The reason why is because it's to do with a synchronicity again with my grandfather. Okay, I wouldn't say he was superstitious. Okay, but kind of superstitious. Get my words out. He used to do this little thing with his teacup. It was a little funny thing. He'd hold the saucer and like turn the handle all the way around a couple of times, and then he'd flip the teaspoon over the cup before he'd drink his cup of tea. Just little weird things like that. Couldn't have green on anything. Couldn't have anything green because green was bad luck. And as far as I could remember, I don't think he really went anywhere on a Friday the 13th. It was they weren't they weren't going to go anywhere. Like my grandparents, he wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but anyway, for whatever reason, that's what I'm thinking of, and because it's Friday the 13th tomorrow, I'm like, maybe I'll just do this because the synchronicities with that my grandfather that I think my grandfather has with Madonna. Okay, so anyway, I've been revisiting this music video of Lady Gaga's for quite some time, and every time I go back to it, I see something new. I've got some old decodes on it, but to be fair, those old decodes, they don't have as much. They're not as in depth as if I were to do a decode tomorrow on this video. It would be there would be like 2 or 3 times as much information on it because it's absolutely loaded, really. But you could go back and watch one of my old ones on that. I don't think they're too bad. There's some good stuff in them. But anyway, on revisiting this thing here, this little duck. What this is a betel box, as far as I'm aware. Okay, and if I could pick up another picture of one. Okay, here we are. You can probably see this. Here we go. Come on. There. That kind of looks like the thing, doesn't it? And basically, this says it's a betel box to store. I don't even want to. How the hell you say that nut? I don't know. But anyway, and betel leaves. Other natural ingredients which will combine to create a mild stimulant similar to tobacco. Okay. That's what that thing is. Okay, but I'll tell you what's interesting about it, and I'll tell you what else is interesting about the Lady Gaga video is that there's a couple of other things that keep showing up in the background, and there's a couple of other big references. The other big reference is to the teapot. That's referenced several times. There's a brass teapot sitting in other scenes, and Lady Gaga even does the like "I'm a little teapot" kind of action as well, a couple of times in it. So there's obviously a reference to the teapot. So we've got this thing, the teapot, and I'll show you what else is weird because they're in the middle of the desert in this thing, and there's a scene here where this old girl is sat on what appears to be some kind of an igloo. Yeah. So anyway, let's put that stuff in the Gematrinator Okay, those three things, and we'll look what the numbers are on them. Okay, so here's Teapot. Okay, and here's Igloo, and you can see that Teapot and Igloo, if you look down here, like this is a 58 and 77, right, in reverse, and Teapot is the almost the opposite, is 77 and 85 in reverse. When you do the reductions on these two things, Igloo in the reduction is 31 and 23, and Teapot is 31 and 23 the other way around. Okay, so we've got some interesting stuff going on there. Well, Madonna is starting the tour on the 14th. Okay, just in a couple of, well, day and a half or whenever it's going to start. I don't know. But what was interesting about that was I came across. Let me show you this. I came across this. Okay, the celebration tour, but it's the here they've got a fan party going on, and it's supposedly the 33rd fan party, which I thought was fairly interesting with the idea of death and resurrection. And here is where they're having this thing at the Zodiac. Okay, the Zodiac Club, I guess, but it's just says Zodiac here. Okay, when we go to the Zodiac bar and club in, and this looks like the right one, you know. Obviously, it's a gay bar. The address, if this is the same one, it looks like the photo looks like the same kind of, you know, image, you know, same kind of Z that they've got, the same logo. What I'm trying to say. The address, 119 Hampstead Road. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, we've got the 911 already started up on this with the Zodiac, but for some unknown reason, I just put it in, and I noticed I put it in the Gematrinator, and of course you will have just seen it, but I put it in the Gematrinator. I'm like, ooh, I just happened to have Igloo and Teapot in there, and lo and behold, a 58, a 31, and a 32. The only one that's different here is we're not got a 77, we've got a 104, a 104. After the other day with the, and of course when the tour is starting, again same numbers, the number 14, and again the 4th of October. So a lot of a lot of, you know, these synchronicities, you know, with these numbers here is this is pretty good matchup for me, you know. Again, with the Betel box, that little duck container, check out the numbers here as well with this thing. 85, 31, 131, 131. Of course, the 13th is a 131, and obviously Halloween will be a 131, and we've got one in January as well. So we can, you know, we can get the 131s. We can get a couple of 131s for sure. We can even get the 3rd of November. You know, you can go through all the numbers. So there's lots of numbers that can kind of have the same numerology. But anyway, I thought this was super interesting as well, that this also matched up. Okay, at least with, you know, obviously the 41 is now cross-referencing here with the 104, and the 131. I'm going to show you the connection as well to 131 here in a minute, which I think is an interesting connection with Madonna. Yeah, but this 31 with the 13, super interesting. Yeah, and the backwards 13, the backwards M is 13, the backwards M. Okay. So anyway, what is interesting about the Lady Gaga 911 video is that, yes, if you go back and watch my other stuff, I believe there is a prediction for Madonna's death in here, and the prediction comes right here somewhere. If I get to the right point, takes a second, but I don't really want to play it. Obviously, in this scene as well, the Black Madonna. Okay, So this is important as well. I don't remember if it's after this or right at this point somewhere. Come on now. Tell you what kind of sucks. No doubt it's around the. Don't tell me it's around the 127 mark. Should have probably written this down. Here we go. She's about to put this little figurine thing in this box. Yeah. And there's another little box down there as well. I'm not sure if that is also a battle box as well. But again, I think they can be any kind of shape actually. I'm not sure about it. I haven't done really any research on it. I just wanted to find out what that blooming duck was, you know. But anyway, she's going to put this little doll in here, okay? And I'm going to show you see if we can get a close up of the doll, and then we'll look at what potentially the doll is, okay? And this is right around the 131 mark as well. Unbelievable. Come on, put the blooming thing in there. Oh, I know this is painful, but I don't, I want to try to avoid playing these things. So here we got the image finally, okay? And initially I thought maybe this was a reference to Harry Potter, but on looking at it further, I thought, well, maybe this is Madonna, okay, with the Betty Boop kind of looking character, the cartoon character that they have in Who's That Girl? Maybe that is a reference to this, and also with this thing here that looks a lot like a fencing sword, okay? So in Who's That Girl, they have a fencing scene at the end, and then the Bond film Die Another Day that also has, a reference to the Hoover Dam right at the start with the hovercraft scene. But that film, they have a fencing scene in it as well, where they're sword fighting, fencing. They have that scene, and Madonna is in that, associated with that scene. Okay, she's one of the instructors, I guess, or something like that at the fencing school. So anyway, what's interesting about that is that in the music video for Die Another Day, when Madonna is also fighting herself, and they do a bit of fencing in that, I think, as well. I can't really remember off the top of my head exactly what goes on in that video, but the important thing to note in that video is that there is a point in which there is a arm that falls off a suit of armor. Okay, so that's important because it's referenced here in this Lady Gaga video. So this is going in a box. When you die, you go in a box, but I'm going to show you this actually looks like a wedding veil here. So at the end of Who's That Girl, when they are fighting with actually it's Loud and Trot, and you'll see that this kind of looked like it, I kind of had the hint of glasses here, and Loud and Trot actually has those kind of Harry Potter type glasses as well, which is kind of interesting. And the fencing sword is like a magic, kind of, it's thin like a magic wand. So I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting with the Harry Potter reference to Loud and Trot now. But anyway, this could be a wedding veil here, the wedding headdress thing, veil, whatever they call that. And it could be a reference to Who's That Girl, and this could be a reference to also Loud and Trot, and Madonna kind of thing going in the casket, so to speak. Anyway, let me show. Actually, I've got this up so you can kind of get an idea. No, try this one. That's one of my old videos there for some reason. No channel content. No, here we are. This is what we wanted. And actually, interesting, we kind of got a similar color going on there with the sword, but you get the idea, There we go. He's just been in fighting was going to be his father-in-law, okay, and then Madonna shows up, and yeah. Anyway, in a fencing match. So where do I want to go from here? Okay, So the die another day is referenced. I guess I'll quickly show you the. Let me just click on from here, and I'll show you. See if I can catch that arm coming down. It's really difficult to catch it actually, because it's just a split second. Here's the gauntlet. Okay, this is what is going that falls off the suit of armor, and you'll see that Lady Gaga actually is like saying her arm is falling off here. I would play just a second of it so you could just see her action. The arm is falling off, and we just had the arm pulled away. That to me is a reference to Die Another Day and to that song by Madonna and that music video. So Die Another Day. Where are you going with this, Dan? Okay, Die Another Day. The Die Another Day was released, okay, October the 22nd. October the 22nd. Okay. I've actually done a video on this time last year as well. But this, okay, October the 22nd, this train crash back in 1895 in Paris. Quite a famous picture, actually. Locomotive number 721, okay? Locomotive number 127, okay? Madonna, 127 in the reverse. Okay, following along. Let's go to the other train crash. Steam train going over into the ravine. Okay, Back to the Future 3. Locomotive number 131. Okay, like what we've got coming up tomorrow. Actually, it is that time now. Okay, it's just switched. So 131. And this is the loco in Back to the Future that crashes. This is the Black Pearl. Okay, this is the Black Madonna. Okay, this is the thing that's going to crash and burn here. Okay, so this is pretty interesting because we can flip back to those numbers again, and again with the battle box, this duck thing that keeps showing up in the background in the Lady Gaga video, the 131 in there, man. And also the connection to the 14 or the 104 of the clock stopping in Back to the Future. You know, essentially that is the death of the Matrix as well in Back to the Future. Okay, and again, this Zodiac Club, the tie-in, the Zodiac fitting in with these numbers so well. I just, and the 104 as well with it. I mean, I don't know. It's, it all connects together, doesn't it? A lot of these videos that I do, they have pretty good connections together. But again, the 131 tomorrow, the train crash, Die Another Day, good connections to the there you go, there's another connection in that. While I'm here, there's something to do with Tetris here. Okay, at least I think so, and I think this is a reference. I'll go through this really quickly right now, but I think this is a reference to oh, of course, let's see, come on, here we go. See this image here where she's at the window here, right? I think this is a reference to Tetris. And Tetris, okay, that name is a combination of the number of tetra, which is 4, and tennis, okay, which obviously you could obviously pick the number 10 out of tennis, which is another, it's a 410 reference here. Look at this. This is what I was just on. Where the hell is it? Look at the colors here with Tetris, and then look at this. Okay, I know that's probably a stretch for some people, but I think this is a reference to 1004 again, the clock tower. Okay, and what is interesting is don't know if I can get onto a better shot of this. I will also show you this as well. Blimmin' hell, I don't know why this thing is now all of a sudden just going mentally slow. Actually, let me go back let me see if I can find a better picture of that. There's actually a spot. This is actually a decode that would probably take me a couple of hours actually to go through this video now, because it is so low. It is actually really loaded, and all the different movements of people in it and how people are, the motions that people are making. I want to show you this as well. On the dollar bill, okay, this dude is on the dollar bill and this dude is on the dollar bill. Let me show you. This is part of our, oh, blimey now. Hang on a minute. Back that up. See what this does. Oh, goodness me. Don't go that far. On the dollar bill, right? This image here with the shieldy type thing, the torso, I don't know what you even call it, but I think it's like a breastplate basically. So it mounts to the torso of man, the body, okay? This thing here is this dude, okay? And then this is the O that fits together with this dude, okay? So this is getting a bit deep. Where the hell was my dollar bill? Hang on. Okay, so that's the O that fits together with this thing. So when we do that dollar bill fold with the little owl that comes over and this joins up, those are those two things there, okay? And notice that they kind of look like they've got a lampshade on their head. This is, I think, is another dollar bill reference. I think it's back to that old silver certificate that has the two lampposts that don't have, they look like lamps without the lampshade on them. And these guys have got lampshades on their heads. There's a couple more that show up in the whole thing. And I'll tell you one other interesting thing that connects back to this day for Madonna, is that the tour, the date from the tour, which is, I know this is all over the place, January the 17th through to October the 13th, okay, so the tour actually starts tomorrow, which would be 270 days, or 271 days if you include the day off, okay. But what is interesting about the 13th is this 269 would leave 69 days if you were looking at a full calendar year, okay? So that's the difference, 69. In this Gaga video, these guys, all these people that are in this video, there's another part to this video at the end. Without getting too complicated on it, right? There is an accident, and this is all kind of like a dream that Gaga's having, okay? Like an out-of-body experience or something, right? And because she's on death's door, right? She's just been in an accident. These guys here equate to the firefighters at the end of the video, okay? If you go and watch it, you'll see all kinds of numbers, but the number that pops up is the number 69 on those firefighters, amongst a couple of other numbers as well. So that is really kind of interesting. But the fact that this is that part of the dollar bill and this is the other part of the dollar bill, and this fits with this, and so what this is telling me here is that this is telling me this is the number 11 here, okay, and this is the number 10 right here, okay. Now, I don't know why this guy's lower down. I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought about it. I've got to really spend a couple more hours thinking about this stuff before I do an actual video on it. But this is a 10-11 reference with these two. Okay. And I'll tell you what is also interesting about the positioning of these two is that when you look at the dollar bill, this dude should be on this side and this dude should be on this side. Okay, and we know in the dollar bill that we're dealing with in the dollar bill we are dealing with the date of the 10th of November. Now, these being switched could be a clue to the fact that we're dealing with an October the 11th date here, rather than the November date. Okay, so this is interesting that this is all around the time of, the prediction for Madonna's death in here, as the Black Madonna in the background there as well, and that we are dealing with an October type date. And the fact that this guy, the number 10, is on this side compared to this, it just indicates to me that we've switched from the November date to the October date, if that makes sense. Okay. Anyway, what else do I want to say? I don't know really what else there is to say about it. Really, I mean, I've showed you those are most of the connections. I could literally go on about the Die Another Day stuff a little bit more, and I could go on about this Lady Gaga video. There's so much more in it, really. But I did want to show you that as well. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not. I feel like I've mentioned it somewhere about these two being a reference to the dollar bill, but I don't think I haven't ever showed it. But anyway, I'm gonna call it quits for this video. I really need to just wait and let it happen and then do the decode, because or I could probably almost go every other day and pick out some significance, with dates. So it gets a bit ridiculous after a while, but there's some good connections in this one. I think what's outstanding what stands out the most is the fact that these little references here with the igloo and the teapot and the gematria that matches, and this zodiac matching up with that was kind of it matches pretty good, with the betel box and the igloo and the teapot. So that's where I'm going to leave it for the video. Is this steam train, and is the steam train coming to an end today? I don't who the hell knows? Probably not. If I was going to put money on it, I'd probably say nah, probably not. But I wanted to do those connections. It's really interesting, and this might just be, again, connecting into the idea of the tour, and then back to the idea of the 10-11 references that were there. Okay, and connecting that back with Madonna, because that obviously connects with Who's That Girl, Die Another Day, with Who's That Girl as well, and that connection back to ultimately the Hoover Dam. So I don't know. You don't know which way any of these references really go until the actual event happens, and then you can oh well, it's obvious then, it was going in this direction, this was referencing this day or whatever. But anyway, enough waffle. I will catch you on another video here fairly shortly. Alright, cheers, bye.